this week's show. We had to catch up. It's supposed to happen a couple weeks ago, but today we have the Real Big Doobie on today's show.
Man,
Thank you so much for coming in and sitting down, bro.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, it's the mission. All right, good. Nice on social media. It's the Real Big Doobie.
What's happening?
How you doing, bro?
Yeah,
Thank you so much for sitting down with me. As always, I usually offer multiple beverages. In respect to the Factory of Nothing, today we just have the blueberries. If you like a cold beer, while we're talking, feel free. I'm gonna crack one. I don't know how much I'll drink. We'll see.
I might have one.
Thank you so much for coming, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And for moving on the fly, showing up at the Factory of Nothing here in this wonderful studio where Yog and the guys make a lot of big hits.
I got you.
Shout out to Case Money and his new single Rico is wrecking havoc. So we just give them a little pub as we get started. It looks like we're still live and rolling, so let's go ahead and get started. I got my notes. You have a lot of music, and you've hit the scene pretty hard within the past few months.
Yes,
with your mix CD. What's the name of your mix CD?
From the D to AZ.
From the D to AZ. I feel that. Yeah, I'm from Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, and I've been out here 3 years. How long have you been in AZ?
Oh, I've been back and forth since 2000.
Okay, so you just go back and forth. That's just your nature.
No. Well, like.
Oh, you moved back and forth since 2000.
I've moved back a couple of times, but the majority of the time since 2000, I've been here.
Mm-hmm.
Like I went back.
Okay, so you did the majority of your growing up here then. That's 20 years.
I've been like almost.
So you spent your growing up. Yeah, I ain't gonna say growing up, but you've been here for 20 years.
Yeah.
So that's a substantial amount of time.
Yeah, I graduated high school here.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. Phoenix representer. So what brought you here in 2000 from Detroit?
I was a knucklehead. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
oh, they're trying to settle you down.
Yeah, like I had a situation where, you know, you would hear about kids or you had like your elders in your family be like, this nigga gonna end up dead or in jail. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. That was my path. You know what I'm talking about? Dead or in jail. I just was just you know, growing up in Detroit, just following the mode of what you would expect for a stereotypical Detroit young.
Understood.
You know what I mean? So my aunt and uncle been out here since the 90s. They had a church out here. So my pops and my aunt had got together on some, let's get him out here for the summer.
Wow.
And I came out one summer and like, you gotta understand, like,
that's how I keep talking.
I never even seen like a Mexican kid or like a white kid or nothing like that. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I ain't never even seen it before. So except for on TV. So to come out here and to see like all these different cultures and different people, it was a real life culture shock. You know what I'm talking about? So
I understand not having seen a lot of Mexican people. I grew up in Richmond, Virginia, and we really didn't have any Mexicans until like 95, the mid 90s. It was just Puerto Ricans, maybe some Thai people, or maybe some Indians, you know, whatever, real Indians, not natives.
Mm-hmm.
So it was new to me too. I met a lot of cultures here in AZ. No white people though. No white people. So you were in Detroit.
Yeah.
You weren't playing around.
No, I ain't one of them. I'm from Detroit, but really from somewhere way, you know, Lansing somewhere. Like I'm from West 7 Mile, you know what I'm talking about? Like west side of Detroit. And I just didn't see it, you know what I mean? Like growing up, it was nothing but black people, you know what I mean? Like that's it. That's all I knew, except for like a teacher here and there, you know what I mean? Like I had a couple white teachers, I remember that.
Brave souls, God bless them.
Yeah. But
trying to teach children. You know?
Every once in a while, like I seen a white kid, like, cause I go to Canada with my pops sometimes, cause he bold, you know what I'm talking about? So our pops would take me to Canada, but we was grew up like scared, you know what I'm talking about? Like we thinking like that's just how black, like we was just raised to be scared of, you know, like they got lice or something, you know what I'm talking about? Like they can't use your condom, don't bring them home. Like we as a kid, we don't really fully understand that it's a joke. So we grew up kind of scared to even interact, you know what I mean? Like until I moved out here and it was like, man, hold up, like. You mean to tell me the rest of the world ain't like Detroit? You know what I'm saying?
I bet that was crazy.
Yeah, man.
Let's take one pause. Let me see what I can do. Is your phone still in the room? That should be a statement to some of y'all, but if you understand me, maybe you'll understand what I'm saying. But point being, coming there, and then your family, you know, wilding in the streets. To you said your aunt uncle started a church or ran a church.
They still do.
They still do run a church. Salute to them, respect to that. But that must have been incredibly earth-shattering for a man of your age and your background to come to Arizona and being taken care of by church. And not that your parents weren't church goers, but there's a certain amount of pressure. Yeah. When you're affiliated with people that run a church, there's a certain amount of pressure in how you're going to act, and you were wilding. So let's talk about that adjustment in Arizona, which must have been crazy in my mind.
That's a super dope question. Like you really asking questions to learn about me, man. I like that, man.
Well, I'm very interested. Some people say I'm man, this fucking Facebook. Playing this video, so I have trouble playing. I don't want to play it. I don't want to record it. What does it say? In live video. Well, maybe it's still, I don't know. It's just not showing it. We'll keep roll through it. We got the footage with Bishop no matter what happens. Some people think I'm a racial guy, but I was raised in Richmond. We have 50-50 in the cities, but we even have 20 or 30% black people in the suburbs. Mm-hmm. So I was raised around black people my whole life. Not like some people, they weren't foreign to me, you know. Yeah. And I think Richmond shares a lot with Detroit in that, maybe not in the inner city of Detroit, but back when the General Motors was running, there was a lot of black people getting good jobs. There was a lot of black and white people that worked together, went to school together, maybe integrated more than other parts of the country. And I feel like Richmond has that in common. But we were talking about, I don't want to get off subject, your huge adjustment coming to Arizona and being under church, a family. Let's talk about that. I'll let you talk.
So, I moved out here, and my aunt, which is my dad's sister. So my dad's side of the family is a real it's real black structure hierarchy. You know what I'm talking about? Like your elders are your elders. You don't get out of pocket with your elders under no circumstance, or you know there are calls that'll be made and you will be dealt with accordingly. You know what I'm talking about? Like that's how I was raised. You know what I'm talking about? In regards to like my dad and my uncles and my aunts. You know what I'm talking about? So I moved out here with my aunt, and I already knew, for one, my aunt that I moved out here was my favorite aunt my entire life. So I already knew that I wasn't no getting out of line with my auntie. And I never had that issue within my family. It was more so of me just wanting to be in the streets. You know what I'm talking about? I wasn't one of them kids that's gonna, pop off to his pops or pop off to one of my aunts and uncles. You know what I mean? I'd rather get out here in the streets and pop a nigga upside his head type. You know what I'm talking about? I was more activated more than being in the house getting in trouble at home. You know what I mean? So
I get you. It wasn't a conflict with your parents, other than the fact that they were trying to live a certain way, and the way you were trying to live was maybe opposite of what they wanted for you.
Yeah, because my mom and pop split up 8th grade year. So at that point, it was a wrap. You know what I mean? If I'm gonna live with pops, pops he's doing his thing, he working. So, I can pretty much be out here doing what I want to do. You know what I mean? And I ain't really having too much contact with Mom Dukes at first, you know what I mean, after they had separated. So, but moving out here, boom, instantly, first, it was a learning process. Like you said, it's a lot of pressure. It's a difference when you represent the house of the pastor. You know what I'm talking about? Just even people knowing that, you know what I mean? Oh, that's the pastor nephew and all that. I ain't never had experienced that. My parents were not religious like that. You know what I mean?
Another aspect is being the leader of a prominent church. He has a bit of somewhat fame and celebrity in the community. Yeah. And like you said, that carries over to you.
Yeah, man. And I didn't understand it at first, right? So, no lie, my boy JoJo, shout out my man JoJo Taylor, man. When I went to Chandler High School, I went to Chandler, and the first time he introduced me to his mom Dukes, she hated my guts because I was so raw still, not knowing that, in my head, if I meet you out in the street somewhere, I'm gonna talk to you like you in the streets. If you ain't get introduced to me as an elder from my family, then I don't really hold you to that same kind of respect. That's how, a dumb young me used to think, you know what I'm talking about? So his mama asked me something what are you into? You know what I mean? And my answer was so disrespectful, I answered the question so disrespectfully. Like I don't even want to.
So this is like family night. First, I'm not family, not first night, but this is first getting to know each other, getting together, trying to figure you out. What do you like? Board games? You like Nintendos?
I answered with the most vulgar, disrespectful answer, like thinking I was being so cool.
Right.
And JoJo told me like, yeah, my dude said I can't even fuck with you like that. Like, shout out to JoJo, he still held me down and still was the homie. But I didn't understand, you know what I mean? Like that was my first time experiencing that. Wait a minute, you know what I mean? Like somebody else's parent. Like in Detroit, I would have, you know, certain parents I would have got a laugh or a joke. You know what I mean? Like, oh, nigga, you ain't doing it. You know what I mean? Like they'd have responded as a peer, as opposed to
or knowing more about the situation you came out of.
Yeah, man, she wasn't having that shit at all. So, but you know, JoJo still was like my ace, like one of the first dudes I got cool with when I moved out here. You know what I mean? Like outside of the church, going to school with him and whatnot. But so that was like my first, like, you know, once I didn't know how to accept the fact that his moms didn't want us to be homies. No, I ain't never experienced that before. You know what I mean? So
I mean, there was a certain standard in Detroit, and you were now living in maybe the parents around you had different standards.
Yeah, buddy.
And you didn't meet the standard, unfortunately.
I couldn't handle that, so that made me want to learn. You know what I mean? Like I didn't take it as a ill, like. I took it as a learning experience. So, you know, I started to notice that, like you said, like, man, that's the pastor nephew, and that's how he talk. Like, that's what I was hearing. You know what I mean? Like, it had got back to my auntie that I had said this. You know what I'm talking about? Like, yeah, you the pastor nephew, you out here talking like this. I'm like, oh man, you know, I gotta tighten up. I don't want to get on my auntie bad side. I gotta figure this thing out. You know what I mean? So.
No, I feel you. That's got to be tough. I mean, I was raised in the Southern Baptist Church, which to a lot of people is a little crazy. But the kids around me, and these were regular white kids in the suburbs, but the kids around me that were wilding out the most were the police's children and the pastor's kids.
Yeah.
We're always pushing the envelope on what to do and what not to do, you know. So that was kind of different for you. You moved into the situation where you were related to the pastor, and you were, I'm sure, like I said, Detroit had a different standard. You were used to wilding out at a much different standard than Arizona was used to.
Absolutely.
Especially like you said, you know, Arizona, you know, it's not like it doesn't sound like you moved to Buckeye when you moved here. It sounded like maybe they had a nice house in a different community, and parents had a different standard, like we said. How was it? When did you first start rapping? Was that in Detroit? Was that here? Where was that?
In real life, like I first started rapping in Detroit as a little boy, but not too many people really knew. Like I fell in love with rap during like the Bone Thugs and Harmony era. You know what I'm talking about? Like, so I used to memorize my favorite rapper songs, and I used to rap them. And like when the box used to come on, you know what I mean, the videos. Mm-hmm. And my aunts and cousins and everything used to see that I could rap these words. I used to get they used to love that shit.
You get attention.
What I mean? Yeah, so.
And that's the start. That was the first. When you get that attention, that's the start of it.
So I'm like, man, I can write my own raps. You know what I'm talking about? Like, so I never forget, like, it was like Timbaland and Magoo, Up Jumps the Boogie or something like that. Like,
shout out to VA. That's
yeah,
VA.
Man. Yeah. And I wrote my first little rap to that. And I went to the school and I let a couple of the homies hear it. They was like, yo, that's super, you know what I mean? Niggas was amazed that I had put that together. And, you know, I went back and let my little cousins and shit hear it, and we did a little talent show, I performed it. But that was pretty much it, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't never really, I was thugging at that point. Like, I ain't rapping.
The streets,
you know what I mean?
like I say, the life in general, and especially life in the streets, gets in the way of a lot of things.
Yeah.
Especially creative pursuits usually.
But when I moved here, like going to Chandler, like this is how I feel like I had a different experience. Like Arizona is different to me than maybe even, you know, most black men or other men, period. Like I've experienced a different Arizona. Like moving here, like I said, in 2000, I rapped. I could already rap, and you know what I mean? Like so going to the church, my aunt and uncle and my cousins and them, they had a gospel rap group and all that, you know what I mean? So they like, yeah, we know you can rap, but you can't rap nothing but church. You know what I mean?
Right,
so
no secular. They were pretty hard.
They wasn't having it. So it was fine. You know what I mean? Like, so from 16 years old, 17, I was rapping in the church. You know what I mean? Like, going to all these different churches all across the country. You know what I'm talking about? Doing youth events.
Hey, there's shows every Wednesday night and every Sunday morning if you rap in the Lord's word.
Shout out Michael J. I'm talking about FOG clothing line. You know what I'm talking about? We had our own Christian clothing line, everything, like making crazy money doing, you know what I mean? Like people wouldn't imagine, you know what I'm talking about? Like, but it was real dope. But outside of church, you know, like at school, or even my cousins would take me down, like back in the day, you can go on Mill Avenue and fall into a cipher. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
I hear about that. Yeah, I know about a cipher.
Like, I couldn't, like, I don't know about now. I ain't been on Mill in a minute, but like when I was a young nigga, my cousin would take me up and down Mill, and it'd be real ciphers going on. You know what I mean? And they'd be like, "You gonna get in there and spit?" I'd be excited too, because I always felt like I was better. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I never felt like I even heard somebody in a cipher or heard somebody rapping that made me feel like, man, these bars ain't gonna be up to par. You know what I mean? Like, I always feel like, because when I write or anything freestyle, I feel like I'm competing with the same rappers that I fell in love with. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I'm competing with.
And you started at Bone Thugs and Harmony. I was gonna mention earlier. I mean, that's for that to be your, you know, I started a little earlier at Run DMC, which what they were rapping just physically is easier to rap. I mean, Bone Thugs and Harmony is incredibly hard to just mimic. Even to know the words to mimic, then to mimic it is incredibly tough. So the fact that you started there, I think, it shows you where you've gotten to where you are, because you started with such a hard pattern to draw, and now you draw your own patterns.
Yeah, man. That's it, man. So like, I remember like Power 92, or I think it used to be like Power 98, or vice versa, the radio station. They was at the high school, you know what I'm talking about? Like, so lunchtime, they had the speakers out, they playing a little music, and that's when that little Bow Wow song was out. The bounce with you know, when his first little song had came out. And like, you know, the little instrumental was playing, and it was a dude rapping. Like, I remember this shit vividly, you know what I mean? Like, because me being, like I said, coming from Detroit and experiencing this, it was like, this shit was overwhelmingly exciting for me, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
did you feel like a kid in the candy store when
you
first got here?
In real life.
Because I mean, I can imagine you're used to talking to women a certain way. You're used to getting women to respond a certain way. You're used to maybe selling a little lollipop or a drug here and there, maybe. It just seemed like this would be a wide open playing field to someone with the type of experience you had, and to turn that down, it would be incredibly hard. It's almost like you have superpowers when you moved here, because you live such a different life.
And that's what I'm telling you, man. Like, that's why I only been doing music now. This hasn't even been a year yet. My first year, it'll be the day after Christmas. That's a year for me for doing music.
Well, that's why I got confused, because that's why you seem like such a new artist, but you're so seasoned as a person.
Yeah, man. That's why. Like, so I get up, like, it's one dude that can rap, like, in the whole school. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you know, I know it's a lot of rappers that from Chandler, even dudes that I went to high school with that started rapping later on, you know what I'm talking about? Like, but when I came there was one dude who could rap. His name was like Marcus or something like that. And he was like a goofball rapper though, you know what I'm talking about? Right. Satire, you know, he cracking jokey jokes.
Sure.
And that's how
that was big if we're talking about the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I mean, it was big to be the.
But it wasn't dope though. It was dope for what they was used to, I guess. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I told JoJo, like, son, you take me up there, I'm gonna rap. Nobody knew me at school yet, you know what I mean? It's only like second and third day. You know, only maybe a couple of little females that I had tried to talk to, you know what I mean? But other than that, and JoJo, you know, because we had classes together. I'm like, he like, you can spit? I'm like, yeah, I can spit, son. Like, take me up there, I'm about to show you. He's like, and I went up there and I murdered it, you know what I mean? Like, it was something like, it was crazy. The whole school went crazy, you know what I mean? Like, they started calling me Biggie, you know what I mean? Like, you Chandler's Biggie. And at first I wasn't fucking with that, you know what I mean? Like, especially me growing up such a Stone Cold Tupac fan. You're not finna call me Biggie, son, you know what I'm talking about? But it was stuck like everywhere, every you know, white, Mexican, like every race, anybody, nobody even really knew my real name, you know what I mean? Everybody just knew me. Even my teachers called me Biggie, you know what I mean? Like,
you're a big guy to rap.
Yeah,
it's
so
the easiest thing, you know.
so like what it allowed me to do, like music make people comfortable. You know what I mean? So
it's true.
Me being such a good rapper, like a lot of people didn't have a guard up with me. Different races and things allowed me to get closer to a lot of different cultures and, get to learn it from my own perspective. You know what I mean? Like
different cultures do tend to have fear of a large black man.
Who
was your first white friend? Who first broke through as your first real
white
homie? I can tell this motherfucker some real shit about white people. We can talk real. He can't say the N-word, but we can talk real about everything else. Well, who was your first go-to white guy? I could trust this guy. This guy's all right. Because you're almost full grown at that point. You're coming from a place where you've never experienced white guys. So to me, not knowing nothing, it would seem like it would be harder to bridge that gap.
That's so crazy. You're the truth for these questions. I'm telling you, my first white friend, I would have. It
could be a girl.
No. It was a group. It was the homies. So
okay,
it's Adam.
Let's shout them out, Adam.
Adam Pipe. I'm gonna get first and last because they're my white homies. They want to hear their first and last.
Yeah. They want to hear the first. They're not worried about the government at all. They ain't worried about shit.
Adam Pipe, Jody Curry, Brandon Snyder.
We'll tag them in the video.
Yeah, man. Like them was that was the rap pack, and then Chente. You know what I mean?
Did they rap? Were they
hip hop
culture? Or they were just homies?
Absolutely
okay.
not. Okay. I'm talking about these was the. Sublime. I'm talking about the whitest white boys. They never try to be nothing else but what they are. You know what I mean?
That's good.
That's how I was able to. And then Chente, he's a Mexican. That's my Mexican home. That's my brother.
Okay.
Vincent. Vincent Montaigne. I don't know your real name too, homeboy. That's my brother too. So I met all of them together. They were in Hightown. If you know Chandler. You know what I mean? It's a neighborhood called Hightown in Chandler. It's like a Mexican neighborhood. That's tucked off at Espinosa's. You go to Espo's Mexican restaurant right there. It's couple streets behind there.
Okay.
That's all Hightown.
A little pocket of Mexican culture in Chandler.
Yeah, in Chandler.
Okay.
And it's heavy. It's real deep. It's real, you know what I mean? It's the real deal around there. You know what I'm talking about? So they, one of my homies I stayed in the apartments across the street with Mom Dukes, you know what I mean? And one of my homies we going over here to party in Hightown. I'm like, what the fuck is this? He talking about amusement parks? I'm like, what the fuck is a Hightown? You know what I mean? He took me over there, boom. And Chente, not, knowing now, the house, Chente's dad, owned the house, you know what I mean? But he was letting Adam and them, that was their little group, Chente, Adam, Joey, Brandon, letting them rent it. And it was really just a party house, though. You know what I mean? So,
I hung out in one of those in my
coming up there. And then I come over there and it's one other black dude, you know what I'm talking about, and me. You know what I'm talking about? Right. Nothing but white people, you know what I mean? They even a couple Mexicans, scattered here and there, but
as some white people would say, the right percentage.
Yeah, man.
Of other people. So a couple Mexicans, couple black guys, and a lot of white folks. Yeah.
So everybody doing their own thing. You know what I mean? I still been I've been over 6 feet forever, you know what I mean? So I've always been a giant nigga, so I'm still the biggest nigga in the room. And I'm just watching people and everybody energy, you know what I mean? Drink my little drink. And then I see the other nigga that's there. Oh, he want to start rapping. I knew it. Instantly, I knew. Anytime I go to a party, I be waiting for somebody to rap. You know what I mean? That's how I was being.
Yeah, that's an MC energy. That's an hip hop energy.
I'm waiting. I wish somebody would. You know what I mean? Because I know, for one, I'm about to kill it, and I'm about to be able to get the baddest bitch here based off the fact that I'm about to be the dopest rapper she ever seen in real life. You know what I'm talking about? I always knew this has always been my confidence. You know what I'm talking about? So. He get to rapping or whatever, and instantly, I murdered him. I actually went around the room freestyling, just rapping about everybody in there, you know what I mean? Which allowed everybody, like I said, get comfortable with me. Boom, the owners of the house, he, they kind of embraced me, you know what I mean? And introduced me to all, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Then was my first real, we done all kind of crazy shit together, you know what I mean? From getting money, all kind of shit that you wouldn't imagine, you know what I mean? They know some secrets about me, I know some secrets about them. We grew up with, I know his mama, he know my mama. I done been over there, you know what I'm talking about?
Just real.
To experience that, yeah. I would have never even had that kind of access into white culture without him, without them, Adam and Joy and all them, like knowing
you learn a lot.
Yeah, man.
It could be a little scary at times, but you
it's
learn
different.
A lot.
It's different, but you can also see where the similarities are. You know what I mean? Like,
I appreciate you saying.
You know what I mean?
There's
like,
a lot of similarities that people like to forget.
Yeah, no, man.
We're talking about white and black relationships.
Yeah, it's just different flavors, man. It's just like what I like I said, me being a giant nigga, and like I said, I've never experienced no racism out here ever. You know what I'm talking about? Like, and people be like, yeah, but motherfuckers don't want to say nothing to you because you a giant ass, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, whatever the reason, police, whatever. And like I said, I done been locked up numerous occasions, but I ain't never got beat up by the police, none of that shit. Some of them try to talk a little slick sometimes,
sure.
But it's how you respond to it, or where they gonna take that shit to. Once they see that they can't get that kind of energy out of me, then it's, you know what I mean? Like I said, but I ain't never experienced no racist, none of that, never. And you know what I mean? Like, ever. And I've been out here all this time, and it's just like, I feel like, it's because I was able to get that kind of insight. Like, I'm able to understand people different than the average, because they haven't been that close to a white person to really know, like how was they raised to be the kind of person that they is. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah, I feel
like so. Like, if you ain't never met their parents or their grandparents to even know they stock, how can you know how this man or this woman became the type of person they is, or why they think the way they think, or whatever it is? Whereas I was able to sit back and learn different, see different, the way different, like, all white people not the same, just like all black people not the same. You know what I mean? Like, this person was raised right like this. Joey and them parents did things different than Adam and them parents did things different than Brad and them parents. You know what I'm talking about?
Definitely.
But I was able to sit back and see, okay, like, it's just like I can relate this to my cousin, this and them, and my homeboy, this and me and my family. You know what I mean? Like, you can relate things, but you can also see where things is different, but it's just culturally. You know what I mean? Like, that's just it. Everything not the same thing with my Mexican homie Chente. You know what I mean? Like, allow me to get so close to Mexican culture that, you know what I mean, I never thought that I would be able, like, I would not know, you know what I mean? Like, I would just have what I see on TV or what I hear from other people, but no one can tell me something about Mexicans or about white people, you know what I mean, that I've experienced myself. So there's nothing you can tell me. You can't tell me all white people racist.
They can't make up lies.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
They can't generalize as much as some people like to, because you've had real experience.
Yeah, so that's what it is, man. So I carry myself different, man, and my experiences with people, like, I don't never have no beefs or nothing, like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody love me, and that's just because I show respect and I demand it back. You know what I mean? Like, I treat you the way that I want to be treated. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I'm a firm believer in that. So even though I'm a giant, nobody will never be like, or not since I've been an adult, will be like,
right,
he bullying, or he bullied me, or he tried to throw his weight around. Like, no, because that's sucker shit. You know what I mean? Like,
and I think you don't feel the pressure of being a little guy. I think most of the big people in my life have been the nicest people I've known. And I think it's because you don't get intimidated easy.
Yeah.
You're not insecure. You know who you are, and you know what you can do, and probably some things you can't do. But point being, you know who you are and where you're at in the world, and smart people do give bigger people a certain amount of respect. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's the only smart thing to do. I was raised as a man, and as a man, you're raised. Even if you don't learn it at home, you're raised pretty quick to give bigger people respect. Unless you want to deal with the wrath of bigger people, which most people do not want to do. So, but like I said, most big people I've met, they're the nicest people I've known, and most of the shit talkers and troublemakers have been some of the shorter people I've known. So I don't say it necessarily has to be that way, but that's just been my experience. Do you miss anything about Detroit? Being here, what do you miss about Detroit?
Coney Island.
There's a Coney Island in Detroit.
There's a million Coney Islands in Detroit. Restaurant. It's a restaurant.
Oh, it's okay. Oh, I was thinking about the Coney Island in New York. I didn't know. I was like, there's islands in Detroit.
But no, like, I miss, like,
what do they serve at that Coney Island?
Man, like, I love the corned beef deluxe. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
okay.
I'm a big corned beef sandwich. You know what I mean? Like, chili cheese fries. You know what I'm talking about?
It's corned beef deli sandwich. Okay.
But you can get all kind of devices in there, burgers, all that. You know what I mean? And some of them, you can even get a corned beef egg roll. You know what I'm talking about?
That's crazy. I've never tried. I'd love to try that. I'm a food guy myself. I'm struggling to be small, but I'm trying. My heart wants to be a big guy. I like eating. I like combining foods and trying new combinations. I'm that kind of big guy. I'm a little confused about one thing. You had a rapping past. You definitely received props and girls and things that we get from rapping. But then you dropped the fact that you really just started pursuing it a year ago.
True.
So it was just a party. It was just, hey, fun, hey, get girls thing up until then. Or, hey, I'm going to talk some shit. I'm going to be better than that guy. What made you turn the real gas on? What made you really start to pursue it?
Time. Like, I'm like, man, if I'm going to really do, like, I always felt that was what I was supposed to do, was rap. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, God did not make me this talented, you know, give me these gifts to just be the nigga who can kill everybody at a party if I'm at it, or, you know what I mean? That could just, you know, that's not what he gave me this for, just so my homies and my family can know that I'm the dopest nigga that never did nothing with it. You know what I mean? So, and I grew up, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of niggas, you know, like, shout out to niggas who can do that when they're younger, but like I said, I was really in the streets. You know what I'm talking about? Like, even in here, like, I was really in the streets, really enjoying everything that a street life give you, the good, the bad, the ugly, you know what I mean? Like, from traveling state to state, all of that, I was really that. So I didn't see the, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, when I'm gonna stop this and go in the studio and record, like, when like,
it's a common thing in hip hop. A lot of street guys don't or miss the value of being an artist.
So that's why though, like, and it just came a point in my life where it's like, okay, you know, I'm good now. You know what I mean? Like, if this is what I really want to do, this is gonna be my like, I need to just go ahead and do it. You know what I mean? Like, I need to start investing in it, and I need to take the same energy that I've been putting in the streets and put it into music. You know what I'm talking about? So that was it. You know, I made the decision. It was just time. Like, this gonna be it. So right after Christmas, I called Blaine up, like, come to the crib. I'm gonna shoot a video for, you know what I mean? I'm gonna just take this I'm Illy beat and shoot a video over. I'm gonna kill it. And we got such a good response. It's just been a heavy press ever since then. You know what I mean? Like,
well, the project, the artwork looks great. The music sounds technically well produced and well engineered. So I want to give you all the salute and respect for that, because that's a big hurdle a lot of artists don't take the time to engage in. You've been in AZ long enough to know what's the best part of the AZ hip hop scene? What's the best part of AZ hip hop?
Like, for this time that I've been in it, the best thing that I can say is that I don't really see no petty beefs. You know what I mean? Like, and if it is, it don't get enough attention to where it
doesn't live.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Most of the time, it's super petty. That's why it doesn't really live long.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. And it ain't nothing enough to where, you know, ain't no real beef, ain't no blood being shed, ain't even nobody throwing no hands behind nothing that's going on. Like, it's just a bunch of Twitter fingers and internet shit that I done seen for the most part, and I think that's dope. You know what I mean? Like, that, you know, people can really move around freely and be whatever kind of artist they want to be without having to worry about the pressure from somebody else or nothing like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really like seeing people feeling uncomfortable about it. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's dope. I notice in other places sometimes, like, oh, this nigga don't fuck with this nigga, or this nigga come do a show here, these niggas gonna come shoot the show up and all woo. Like, ain't none of that going on out here. I think that's dope. And I feel like these artists, like, most Arizona artists are open to work with other Arizona artists, but for some reason it's like people think that they not. You know what I mean? Like, it's like people think that they won't fuck with you.
There's a general opinion that nobody fucks with you, but if you reach out to somebody, most of the time they fuck with you.
Yeah, like me personally, I haven't wanted a feature. You know what I mean? Or tried to get a feature from no other artists. You know what I mean? Like, just because I wanted to, like I said, this is my first year. I ain't even hit a year yet. So I wanted to come establish myself as an artist, as being one of the dopest, if not the dopest that you ever heard. You know what I mean? Well, not with 100 million features and all. You know what I mean? Like, in 2021, I'm gonna get some features. You know what I mean? Like, I've been peeping the scene. That's what I've been really doing too. Is just doing my homework, really watching these Arizona artists. You know what I mean? Putting my ear to their music, even seeing like Like everybody's not dope, you know what I mean? Like that's just, you know what I mean? Like shout out to everybody who want to do music, yeah.
It's just a fact of life.
Yeah, everybody's not dope. Some of this shit is trash.
Some people's journey is to try it and figure out that it's not for them for whatever reason.
But some of this shit out here is dope. Some of these artists are dope, and I feel like we would compliment each other on tracks. You know what I'm talking about? Like, so once I'm ready to start selecting my features, like anytime you're gonna see a feature, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm gonna want people to be excited to hear the song. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you see people on the song together, I'm like, what? Like I don't want to hear that shit. You know what I mean? Like what? How they gonna be on the song together? You know what I'm talking about? Like even though they're so different and they bring them, like I don't want to hear that shit. But the people who I'm gonna want to put on song, even if we're different, we'll compliment each other. You know what I mean? So 2021. You know, be on the lookout for some features from some artists.
That sounds good. I think because you didn't do it at first, that builds anticipation for when it does happen. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're doing true collaborations and not more the microwave kind of get-togethers like you were talking about.
Oh, no. Like, anybody who I'm going to do a song with, I'm going to fuck with them. Like, we're going to be in the studio together. I'm not just about to be sending tracks off. I'll come to you, whatever it is. Like, I need the whole vibe to, you know what I mean? Like, because I might like your music, I might meet you and not fuck with you, you know what I mean? And then I'm gonna have to go ahead and, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna just do music with you if I don't fuck with you like that, you know what I mean?
With a name like Big Doobie, has that been a nickname in your life, or is that just coming with the newfound rap crew?
No, like we the Doobie Boys. Like
I mean, you've been big for a while, so I figure that's a part of it. That's a staple of what you are.
But that's a family name. Like even if you go look like 2007, 8, 9, 10, even right now to this day, my cousin Dre Doobie, like the Doobie Boys Entertainment was a club promotion company out here. You know what I mean? Like even where they had the Monarch, they used to be Club PHX. Okay. Everybody know, you niggas know, you know what I'm talking about? Like everybody know who it is and where that Doobie shit came from. But the Doobie Boy, you know, we have billboards and shit all out here and all that. So that's Mike Doobie, Dre Doobie, always been Big Doobie. You know what I mean?
Okay,
like,
that makes sense.
So
perfect sense. Yeah.
That it's just been my name all this time, and as opposed to being Biggie, you know what I mean? Where everybody calling me Biggie, that's a no-go, you know what I mean? And then even just Big, you know what I mean? Like I got a homie named Big too, you know what I mean? Like we get together and he's big, and we both look at fuck all that.
It's
you know
too
what
general
I mean?
for these days. So many people rap, and the name game can be difficult.
So I'm Big Doobie, you know what I mean? The one and only, no phony.
Were you smoking weed in Detroit before you came to Arizona?
Absolutely.
Just help me out. Right before the '99, right before you moved here the first time, what kind of cannabis were we smoking in Detroit? I can tell you what I was smoking. In '99, I was like, we got actually pretty good. We actually, you know, and I'm a white guy, so I had some white guy connects. But in '99, I was actually smoking. I say pretty good. It might have been what they called hydro. It wasn't exactly exotic, but it definitely wasn't brickweed. I was somewhere not quite to the top shelf, but transitioning during that time. What kind of marijuana were we smoking in Detroit in 1999?
Gas. Like that's what it's called. That's what we was smoking. That was our like, you know, like you said, it wasn't exotic, but it wasn't no Reggie, right? You know, you smoking that good gang, you might have a little money. My auntie was a weed lady, so you know what I mean. Like on some, like my auntie was a weed lady major. Like, hey nigga, come in here and help me bag up these sacks. You know what I'm talking about? Like little nigga, we in there stuffing baggies. I stuff a couple and had a couple. You know?
It was only right. I mean, you know, you were working.
You got them gas today, AZ. So
shout out to Auntie. She probably knew it.
R.I.P. man, Auntie Nisi, man. You know what I'm saying? Everybody know, you know what I'm saying? Auntie Nisi used to have them big ass trays. You know what I'm talking about? She come dump a bowl on that bitch on you. You know what I'm talking about? Get the stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Two fingers. You know what I'm talking about? I'm about to take me some of these gas, couple bags of sales.
So to me, that explains completely the dichotomy of your life. Like you in Detroit, your aunt, you're actively helping her sell drugs. I mean, dime 20 bags, whatever they were. And in Arizona, your aunt is pastor of the church. Pastor of the church.
Woo!
Yeah, that's man. I can't get over how big a change that must have been. It looks like you came out on top. Found some go-to white guys. What's the worst part of just being a rapper in general? What's the worst part? What's the down? Everything's got ups and downs, and we talked about a lot of the ups. What's the downside to rap?
Oh, don't answer that question.
Where we were at, this is where we're picking up. What do you think the worst part of being a rapper in general is?
It's just like the anticipation. Like I can't speak for other rappers, but I know where I'm going to be, and just constantly reminding myself to be patient. That it's a process. That I gotta grind. I gotta get it out the mud, and ain't no shortcuts. You know what I mean? Like
that's a great attitude. I think a lot of artists have trouble with that concept in itself. That it's gonna be a grind. It's gonna be a lot of work.
Yeah.
Comedians have a better. Comedians go into it knowing first 5 or 10 years I gotta work hard and I'm not gonna make any money.
Mm-hmm.
And they know that if I do that, there's a good chance after the 10 years I could make. You know, even if you're just a touring comedian, you can make good money.
Yeah.
So I think rappers maybe need to learn a lesson from comedians that it's very rare that it's an overnight success. Everybody seems like an overnight success. Usually if you ask them, it's been a long, tedious process, and they have a lot of ups and downs over that process. Now, we talked about your name, Big Doobie, and I use these interviews for personal information. What is your favorite? Are you an indica or sativa guy? Do you not care? Indica. Yeah. What's your favorite strain? Do you have a favorite strain?
Man, there's a couple.
You just give them a shout out. You don't have to go down the whole list. I like
Mojave make cream pie kush. I love it.
Okay.
There's a new grower that came out here from California, the Connected Labs.
Connected and Alien.
Yeah, the Alien.
Yeah, I haven't got to them yet.
So the Gushers is mind blowing. The Gelato 41, the Biscotti, the Gelinade.
I like a good Biscotti.
It's $65 an AFI, but it's worth it to me. You know what I mean? To be really smoking that good Zy. But them the ones, like them I go, that's what I'm blowing right now.
Okay. Well, you gave us the strain, and is there a favorite dispensary to buy these at? Or is it
you can only
where you can find like Harvest?
Harvest is the only place you can get the Connected Labs.
Yeah.
But Debbie's is the home of the Mojave. They really the only grower that's fucking with that Connected Labs to me.
Right.
You know, I done had the Kingman flower, the Grow Sign, all of that. Like, yeah, some gas out here, but for that real exotic shit, ain't nobody really fucking with that Connected Labs, but Mojave.
They're new. Mojave's been around. Connected Labs. Have you ever tried True Med?
Yeah.
You like True Med?
I like True Med.
I'm a fan of True Med. Now, of course, they're a sponsor of our situation.
Okay.
So I feel kind of necessary to mention them, but it's okay for me because they're one of the best flowers I've had. I like. I give a shout out to. I just tried House Exotics, which is kind of a new name, but they had a real good flower. I like it crystally and sticky, and which sometimes it can be tough. But you got to pay that $50 or $60 charge to get the real. So yeah, I enjoy good cannabis.
Quality over quantity, man. Absolutely.
Quality over quantity. I agree. What if anything, is there anything you can find similar between Phoenix and Detroit? Very different landscape, very different population, very different a lot of things. Is there anything similar you can draw from between Phoenix and Detroit?
I'm trying to think, like, even food, everything like.
Definitely not as good of food here as in Richmond. And you mentioned a restaurant you missed in Detroit. I miss the food. The food had a bit more culture where I came from on the East Coast.
I would say that. I mean that the closest thing I would say is like that casino boom. How we had started getting all these casinos.
Oh, y'all have casinos as well.
Yeah, we started getting the casinos.
That's a good similarity. That's true. Okay,
that's pretty much it.
Is it the native situation there?
Yeah.
If you're on Native American ground. Oh, the Greeks. Okay.
Yeah, like the Greeks got them, like, cause most of the casinos is downtown. Ain't no native land.
I see. Ain't no native land in Detroit. So they legalize gambling to help the situation. I would imagine. Do you have you had rat beef? Have you had?
Never.
Yeah, you're a big guy. It's kind of I doubt most people. There are a lot of small rappers. Let's be honest. Eminem, Ice Cube, just to name a few. A lot of small rappers. Do you give a shit about Eminem?
Yes.
He comes from your hometown. He's huge. He's huge in hip hop in general.
And he was part of molding me as an artist. Okay. He was a part. I'm not gonna sit here and act like, especially that Marshall Mathers, that Slim Shady, And what's the other one? The Eminem Show. Them
Yeah,
three
the first
albums.
three,
Yeah, them first 3 albums. I pretty much can tell you I can rap every song word for word because that's like my freshman year of high school.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and me becoming an artist, and that's one of the artists who I compete with when I write. You know what I mean? So absolutely.
That's a good role model to have because say what you want, technical writer, he's definitely one of, if not the best, a technical writer.
Yes, and
you may not like his content,
yeah.
and it's odd to me that it's kind of I haven't met anybody from Detroit that doesn't show Eminem a lot of respect, and I've met a lot of black folks outside of Detroit that just don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't.
It's like no. Like,
a lot of times his content gets in the way. You know, as you said, your family show a lot of love and respect to the elders. You would never, no matter what your family does, you would never talk a certain way about them or to them. And he broke all those rules because in white houses, we do speak differently to and about our family sometimes for whatever reason. It seems to be cultural. I don't know.
But see, with Eminem, like it wasn't like, you know, like when I listened to Tupac as a kid, a lot of the things that he said I applied to myself as a man and how I walked and how I carried myself, just being military mindset, all kind of shit. Whereas Eminem, I listen to for entertainment. You know what I mean? His music entertained me. Right. His music made me think, and his music made me want to be a better artist. You know what I mean? Like, so I take different things from different artists. Yeah, that's all it is. Like, everybody's not the same. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get the same energy that I get when I listen to Jeezy music that I get when I listen to, you know, say Lupe Fiasco or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I listen to different artists for different things. So when I listened to Eminem growing up, I listened to him, you know, to hear how he put his words together, and because it was mind blowing at the time, nobody was on that level doing that type of shit, you know, lyrically. So yeah, there's no way. Like, shout out to him. You know what I mean? Like, he still is and forever is. You know, he that guy. You know, to my like, regardless of whatever the new wave of music is, people don't want to fuck whatever. Like, I'm from Detroit. I'm a real street nigga, and yes, fucking Eminem is important.
You got respect. And I like how you differentiated that you look to him for artistic advice, technical, creative, writing. You don't look, obviously, and I think this is maybe where people miss the boat, you obviously don't look to Eminem in how to be a 6 foot tall black man.
Right.
He's a 5'10" blonde white guy. Right. You know, like, you don't, there's obvious, you know, there's obvious role models and obvious not role models. Right. So I think to build your life around, of course you don't do that.
Right.
But as far as being a rapper, or maybe how to promote yourself, maybe how to break out, you know, there's a lot of different things you can learn from him. So I appreciate you making that difference and kind of explaining that, because I think it gets muddy. You know, I think Eminem's biggest fault at this problem is probably his fans who piss off he's got a large amount of fans who may or may not have been involved in hip hop culture that love to speak out about him, as all fans do. And I think a lot of times his fans irritate other people more than he actually does. And you can't blame him for having fans. He's an outstanding artist, an outstanding creative writer, and a force in hip hop, no matter who you are. To me, you have a great business sense. What do you think? And maybe it's the mix of the street and the mix of the church and the mix in your family and being able to go in between both worlds. But what do you think drives your business sense?
My goal is to be the richest rapper Arizona has ever produced, period. Without with no question, undisputed, he is the richest. He is responsible for producing the most millionaires in Arizona. You know how, you know, you could be an artist and become an executive and,
I think if you make yourself a millionaire, you would be the richest Arizona rapper at this point. Anyway.
Exactly.
So I think that's a worthy goal. That's a goal you can hit.
And that's why every move that I make business-wise, it's chess for me, it's strategic. The fact that I show up to every show with my own camera crew and everything, I do things differently. You know what I mean? It's all a strategic chess move. You know what I mean? Like, for perception. So to gain leverage for later business ventures and things like that. Like, everything that I do. And like I said, my goal is to be the richest rapper Arizona has ever produced. The first multi-million-dollar, really, oh yeah, that's a millionaire rapper from Arizona right there. You know what I mean? Like, and his artists or whoever he associated with from Arizona, they millionaires too. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason we have the talent here that there can't be multiple multi-millionaire rappers in Arizona the same way there is in Houston or in Detroit or all these other places. When these people come together and work together, once one person do it, as long as that's his mindset, like me, I've always been a leader. So regardless if I've only been doing music for a shorter amount of time, people been doing it long, whatever. Like, when I get in a position to be able to do what I'm able to do, this is what I want to do. I want to lead. I want to show other people how to become multi-million-dollar rappers, even if our market ain't the biggest. We've come from Arizona. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? As long as the hustle is going to match the talent, we can reach those goals. And if I got to be the first one to show, then so be it. You know what I mean? And nothing's going to stop me from doing it. By this time next year, I'm gonna be a lot closer to that goal. You know what I mean? Like, guaranteed.
Do you classify yourself as when you address yourself to the world, you consider yourself an Arizona artist?
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%. Like, yeah, I'm from Detroit. Everybody, all my Detroit people know. Everybody, you know, it's all.
You've been back and forth for a long time.
Yeah,
so
yeah. You know what I mean? Like, everybody know those are my roots. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Detroit made me, but Arizona raised me. You know what I'm talking about? Like, so. Like, yeah, I'm rooted in Detroit, and yeah, I went to high school in Detroit, and school grew up there as a kid, and yes, that's what gave me the foundation to be the type of man that I am. But the evolution of me as a man and as an artist would not have been possible without Arizona. You know what I'm talking about? So I feel like I got the best of both worlds, 100%.
One last question before we get out of here, and thanks again for you coming and sitting down with me. I appreciate it. People like to give me a lot of respect and props for my show, but my show revolves around the artists I speak to. If I was sitting here talking for an hour, no one would want to listen. It's about your story, and it's about uncovering what you have to give to the hip-hop community and to Arizona in general, and I appreciate it. Again, you sitting down with me. One last question. You're Thanos. You snap your fingers, you change any one thing in the world tomorrow. What is Big Doobie going to change about the world?
Man.
It could be hip hop related, general life shit.
100%.
Whatever.
100%. I would get rid of this Rona shit. I'm over it. I'm done. I'm done with the world and the economy being affected by, regardless of if you feel it's real or fake, we're dealing with real issues because of it. So if I could, throw my glove on with all my crystals in it and snap my fingers, there would be no more Rona. It would be done. 100% with no chance of ever coming back.
I'm sure we're all behind that. As we move into 2021, we're all waiting for it to be over. It's like a bad cold that you just want to get done with so you can go back outside and have fun. Well, Big Doobie, I appreciate you sitting down with me. It's been my pleasure. I'm sure everybody out there is going to enjoy it. It's been a great talk. I feel like I know a lot more about you, definitely, but Detroit. And a little bit more about Chandler as well.
Yeah, C-Town, man. Shout out to them Wolves, man. State champs, man. Yeah. That's about Chandler, man.
Picking up Chandler. That's what's it.
Yeah,
that's what
man.
It is. All right, thanks to everybody from The Mission. We're signing off with the real Big Doobie right here every week. The Mission. Let's go. Okay, cool. We'll take a break. Get Charlie Goo in. What did you want to shoot? We're getting ready to get out of here. Before we go, Big Doobie, you want to tell any shout out you want to tell everybody where they can reach you at?
Man. On Instagram, the Real Big Doobie with an underscore at the end. You'll see the mixtape cover. You'll know it's me. On Facebook, Big Doobie, or the Real Big Doobie music page as well.
That's it. Check in with a true AZ artist representing Detroit in his whole life in his music. He's got a great project out now called The D to AZ.
Yes, sir.
And so please, streaming everywhere. It's crisp, it's clean. Check that out. All right? Big Doobie.